Today, our topic is what Seneca taught about dealing with adversity. Seneca, a famous Stoic philosopher, lived a long time ago in ancient Rome, but his ideas about life, challenges, and how to face tough times are still very helpful today. He believed that life is full of difficulties, but it is not the problems themselves that make us suffer. It is how we think about these problems, and how we react to them. Seneca taught that we cannot control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we respond. This is a very powerful idea, because it means that even in hard times, we still have some power over our lives. Seneca said that adversity is not something to fear or avoid. Instead, it is an opportunity to grow stronger and wiser. He compared life to a school where we are constantly learning lessons. Every challenge we face is like a test that helps us become better people. He believed that we should not complain about difficulties because they are a natural part of life. Instead, we should accept them and use them to improve ourselves. One of the key ideas Seneca taught is that we should focus on what we can control and let go of what we cannot control. For example, we cannot control the weather, but we can control how we dress for it. We cannot control what other people say or do, but we can control how we react to them. This idea is very useful when dealing with adversity because it helps us stop wasting energy on things we cannot change and focus on what we can do to make our situation better. Seneca also taught that we should prepare for adversity before it happens. He said that we should imagine the worst-case scenarios in our minds and think about how we would handle them. This is not to make us feel scared or worried, but to help us feel ready and strong if those things actually happen. He called this premeditation of evils. By thinking about the worst possibilities, we can reduce our fear of them and feel more in control. Another important lesson from Seneca is that we should not let our emotions take over when we face difficulties. He believed that strong emotions like anger, fear, or a sadness can cloud our judgment and make it harder for us to think clearly. Instead, we should try to stay calm and rational, even in tough situations. This does not mean that we should ignore our feelings or pretend that everything is fine. It means that we should not let our feelings control us. We should acknowledge our emotions, but also remember that we have the power to choose how we respond. Seneca also talked about the importance of perspective. He said that many of the things we worry about are not as bad as they seem. Sometimes we make problems bigger in our minds than they really are. He encouraged people to step back and look at their situation from a different angle. For example, if you lose your job, it might feel like the end of the world at first. But if you think about it, it could also be an opportunity to find a better job or learn new skills. Seneca believed that by changing our perspective, we can find hope and strength even in difficult times. Another idea from Seneca is that we should not compare ourselves to others. He said that everyone has their own struggles and challenges, and it is not helpful to compare our lives to someone else's. Instead, we should focus on our own journey and try to be the best version of ourselves. He believed that true happiness comes from within, not from external things like money, fame, or status. This is an important lesson because it reminds us that we do not need to have a perfect life to be happy. We can find peace and contentment by accepting ourselves and our circumstances. Seneca also taught that we should be grateful for what we have, even when things are tough. He said that we often take good things for granted and only appreciate them when they are gone. For example, we might not think much about our health until we get sick, or we might not appreciate our friends and family until we lose them. Seneca believed that practicing gratitude can help us feel happier and more satisfied with our lives, even during hard times. He encouraged people to focus on the positive things in their lives and to remember that no matter how bad things seem, there is always something to be thankful for. One of the most famous quotes from Seneca is, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This means that we often worry about things that never happen, and this worry causes us more pain than the actual events. For example, we might spend hours worrying about a difficult conversation we have to have, but when the time comes, it is not as bad as we thought. Seneca believed that by focusing on the present moment and not letting our minds wander into fear or worry, we can reduce our suffering and feel more at peace. Seneca also talked about the importance of time. He said that time is the most valuable thing we have because we can never get it back. He encouraged people to use their time wisely and not waste it on things that do not matter. He believed that we should focus on what is truly important in life, like our relationships, our personal growth, and our contributions to the world. This is a good reminder for all of us to think about how we spend our time, and to make sure we are using it in a way that brings us closer to our goals and values. Another lesson from Seneca is that we should not be afraid of failure. He believed that failure is a natural part of life, and that we can learn a lot from our mistakes. Instead of seeing failure as something to avoid, we should see it as an opportunity to grow and improve. Seneca said that every failure teaches us something valuable and helps us become stronger and more resilient. This is an important lesson because it reminds us that we should not give up when things go wrong. Instead, we should keep trying and keep learning from our experiences. Seneca also taught that we should not depend too much on external things for our happiness. He believed that true happiness comes from within, and that we should not rely on things like money, fame, or material possessions to make us happy. He said that these things are temporary and can be taken away at any time. Instead, we should focus on developing our inner strength and finding peace within ourselves. This is a powerful lesson because it reminds us that we do not need to have a lot of money or possessions to be happy. We can find happiness by being content with what we have and by focusing on our personal growth. In conclusion, Seneca's teachings about dealing with adversity are very helpful for anyone facing challenges in life. He taught us that we cannot control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we respond. He encouraged us to focus on what we can control, prepare for difficulties, stay calm and rational, and change our perspective. He also reminded us to be grateful for what we have, not to compare ourselves to others, and to use our time wisely. Most importantly, Seneca taught us that adversity is not something to fear, but an opportunity to grow stronger and wiser. By following his advice, we can learn to face challenges with courage and resilience, and find peace and happiness even in difficult times.